Hi, one more time. So today we have another live session, and our guest today is a wonderful artist, Colin Sean. He is an artist from Michigan, and he works with mixed media art and create really very emotional and captivating canvases. And Colin's goal since the start was to make art available to all walks of life that art lovers range from. And we will talk today about how to manage ups and downs, these heights and lows, how to build an artist brand, and also how to open up all these mental health things when you are an artist, and why it's important to share and to be vulnerable as an artist. So we will learn a lot about interesting things about Colin's artistic journey. So I'm very happy to introduce him to you. And also, if you don't want to miss any highlights from this interview, you're as always welcome to subscribe to the newsletter. Then you will get all the tips from this interview into your inbox. And I'm accepting the request. We will be happy to answer. Just drop any thoughts or questions you have. Hi, one more time.
Hi.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I think we got this figured out now. I think the
Yeah.
introduction on your side was fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Sorry for this mess.
No, it's okay.
Today.
I didn't have signal in the area I was at, and that was my mistake. I was at work, but now I'm free to go.
Mm-hmm. So you're in your
Yeah, now I
studio,
am.
right? Are you in this? Yeah. Can you walk us, please, a little bit about your artistic journey? When and how did you start to create?
Yeah, of course. Um, I think my artistic journey actually started. I think when I was younger, I would kind of just doodle, and I think the usual kid drawing cars and just small stuff. And I think throughout my school years, taking art classes, um, my teachers would always say, like, that's really good. You should keep drawing, you should keep painting. Um, but I was also playing hockey all throughout my younger years, so I wasn't necessarily super focused on it. Um, but after I graduated high school, I stopped playing hockey, and I just kind of remembered how much my art teachers would encourage me. Um, and I ended up applying to art school. And I did get accepted into the College for Creative Studies in Detroit. Um, and I stayed there for a year. I learned a lot. I think I learned more than I've ever learned about like artistry in general in that one year that I was at school. Um, and unfortunately, because I did fail my English class, so I lost my scholarship. Um, and I ended up dropping out because it was $200,000 for the 4 years, which was the kind of money that I don't have. Um, and then I started my business, and I've been doing my own thing ever since.
That sounds very inspiring. And for me, it sounds not so easy to run your own business. And it needs a lot of courage and
Hmm.
effort and
Yeah.
energy. Um, how you how did you get to jump into it? Was there any thoughts that, oh, maybe I shouldn't,
Um,
or
I definitely was really I was really scared after I dropped out of art school because I really didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't automatically just come up with the idea of starting a business. Um, but I think what happened was is I ended up dropping out, and then I did definitely go into a state of depression for a little while, for about a month. I really didn't leave my room a whole lot because I felt like a failure. I felt like I was never going to go anywhere in the art world. Um, but I started to, work, and then I moved. And then when I finally found myself living in Colorado was when I was working at in like a store that sold like paint, so like house paint. But they also sold, we had a department of art supplies. Um, and the guy that worked in the art supplies department would always come and like show me all these new cool like supplies, and I'd be like, oh, maybe I should try using that. And he kind of really encouraged me to start creating again. And from there, I just started to practice. I hadn't even opened my business at all. Um, but it took me about 2 years of just buying art supplies and working continuously, spending probably half of my paycheck just on supplies every time. And I finally was like, okay, I need to figure out what to do. And then I ended up talking to my mom about starting a LLC and going from there.
Hmm. How do you think what helped you to keep going? Because 2 years is a long, long period of time, and you definitely need to feel support from outside or have the really big, I don't know, hope, like a dream or something that, because how you manage
Hmm.
that, what
I
helped
think
you?
I think what I did is, I mean, I just I knew that I was a good artist because I that 1 year that I did end up finishing at College for Creative Studies. At the end of the year, there was a student exhibition juried show that they put on for all the freshmen, and I was studying illustration, and in my department, I was, I would say I was only maybe one of maybe three students that had 9 pieces displayed in the end of the year show. So I mean, professionals looked at my artwork and said that needs to go into the show. So I mean, I think that was a confidence booster, even though I did leave. I think that boost of confidence, saying, hey, like professionals thought that your work was good. And so with that, I think I took that mindset and applied it by kind of kind of studying older artists. I mean, I bought a couple books on Picasso, Basquiat, Monet, and I would read them. I'm not a great reader, probably because I failed my English class. But I did study them for a little while, and I kind of just I've always been a visual learner. Um, so I looked at their work and I did my own copies, even master copies, and kind of learned the techniques doing it that way. And I think I just took that confidence from that show and said to myself, okay, you are a good artist. Now it's time to develop your own style. Kind of pick and choose what you want to incorporate in your own work. And I think that 2 years I made artwork just about every day. Even if it was only, I was using these pieces that I ended up finding the supplies for when I was working. These just little 6x6 text or sketchbooks that I would cut out the pieces of paper, and this is what I would work on every day, at least one. And I think by doing that, just kind of working 10-hour shifts and then coming home, I only have 2 hours, 3 hours left of the day. I come home, I take my shoes off, I put some more comfy clothes on, I go downstairs and I paint until I go to bed. I get some food obviously, but I think I just really dedicated my time to being a better artist because I had the encouragement from my coworkers and also from my parents.
This is interesting. I have almost a similar story with this everyday art. I don't know if you know or not. You're not following me, so I don't know. Maybe you don't know, but I created these small patterns like an every day for almost
Yeah.
2 years, and this this was have many sketchbooks like this, and So the tip was different, definitely to make the small format and to create every
Yep.
day because
It's
it,
important. And guess
yeah,
what? I had the same thing. I did the same. I have three or
I
four
heard
of
this.
these full. Hmm.
Yeah. So everyone who is listening, if you're thinking about how to start to create, where to start, just buy a very small sketchbook and start to draw there
Just small.
daily. Yeah. Be consistent.
Mhm.
So, did you have any schedule, or besides this small sketchbook and small format artwork, what else helped you? What do you think?
I would say just because I didn't really have a whole lot going on. You know, I lived all the way out in Colorado. I'm from Michigan, so I was miles away from family, miles away from friends. Um, and I think I would say that I was fairly depressed. And so, you know, just to go into that, you know, mental health thing, I think it was a conduit and I think it was a way to get out those negative feelings. So I think that was kind of a good push for me to, you know, continue doing it and, you know, really just dig deep and not give up because it was really all I had.
Mhm. I don't know if it's okay. If you don't want to, of course, cannot answer. But besides art, was there any help? Did you work with therapies to to go through the depression, or you
Unfortunately,
handle everything by your own?
unfortunately, when I moved out to Colorado, I only had about $800 in my pocket. And I wasn't doing very well financially, and I wasn't really focusing on my mental health as much as I should have been. Um, but all throughout my life beforehand, I was very fortunate to start therapy very early in my life. Um, so I think right around age 7 was when I started going to therapy, either biweekly or weekly. And that was right around the time that my parents got divorced, and you know I was dealing with some things. So I'm very used to therapy. Um, but at that time in my life, when I did move out there, I wasn't focusing on it as much as I should have been. So that's where I think
Mhm,
instead of going to therapy, I went downstairs to make art and talked that way.
mhm, mhm. So art was really therapeutic
Hmm.
for you, and the reels, the videos that you shared on social media, uh, was all this was after, or you also made some video content
I,
during that period?
I did make some content during that period, but that was really when like reels were kind of getting started. I think was about that time when I was living there, which was probably right around 5 years ago. It's crazy to think that reels have been out that long. Um, but I was making reels every once in a while. But I wasn't super focused on it because I didn't have the business, um, you know, mindset, I guess, quite yet. I was still in that, you know, that kind of stasis where I was like, okay, I'm just going to create art for now, and then I'll go somewhere later on.
Mm-hmm. I asked that because when I see your reels, they are really pretty creative. I mean that they're the same as your art. They're very emotional, and I subscribed for you. I followed your. I don't remember some month, a few months ago, but I was just I saw your reel on recommendations, and you just grabbed my attention with this expression, and this I think that it works really very good because uh, I feel like you don't shy to be yourself, and this is for me it's really very valuable. I mean that not everyone can do like this. Is it just the way you live for all your life, or was there any shift, any change, or was it harder for you to express yourself? few years
Oh yeah.
ago?
Yeah, I mean, when I was really when I was younger, probably, from like elementary school to high school, I was very withdrawn. Like very withdrawn. I really didn't really show myself, really to anybody but my mom and, my family. I wasn't enthusiastic. Um, Unfortunately, when I was younger, I did go through some severe trauma. Um, um, so I think um, that had a role in, being like pretty withdrawn and kind of afraid to really show who I was. Also because throughout my school years, I was severely bullied. Um, I wasn't the smallest kid, so I was fairly chubby, and they saw me as a target, and um, I was called just about every name in the book that you could think of. So it really did kind of beat me down in terms of my confidence, in showing who I am and being unafraid to do it. So I was very reluctant to do that, I think, during those years in my life. um, but I think the later years of high school, probably around like junior year, sophomore year, was when I really kind of just was like, you know what, I don't I don't care. I'm tired of this. I really want to just be myself, and if you don't like it, then deal with it. You can go somewhere else. Like it's just it kind of didn't phase me as much anymore. And I think that mindset just kind of took over. I think after high school, where I was like, you know what, I have a pretty bad potty mouth. I'm very expressive. Um, and I like to make art, and that's who I am. That's who I'm gonna be, and that was kind of just like a, all right, I'm not gonna say sorry for it anymore.
Do you remember the first time when you turned on the camera and made the first video with your art with this expression and true emotions?
Yeah, um, I think it was when I think it was just before I had left Colorado, when I was like, okay, so you've made a ton of art. What are you gonna do about it? Who's gonna see it? How are they gonna see it? And I was just, that I think every time, I think as artists now, because we're forced to sit in front of a camera and make videos, just to get the reach that we want, I think that, it's uncomfortable, for everybody to start, to like, why am I talking to a camera? I'm talking to no one. Who's gonna see this? This is dumb. But so I think that took a while to get used to. It's not just like one of those things like, unless you're an actor and you know exactly what to do in front of a camera, you're just a normal person and you're doing this for the first time, and it's really uncomfortable, especially if you don't like how you look or if you're self-conscious, and it's all, mental health, related. So I think I did, I was really nervous about it. And I think over time, I continued to make, reels. And I think the confidence just built as I went along with it and just kept making more and more, just kind of like what I did when, I was going home and, making at least one page a day. And I was like, okay, you're going to think of it as something like this, go home, if you have an idea or you see a audio that you want to make a video to, just do it and see what you think. And then the whole editing process came on later because I didn't really know how to do that. But I think, yeah, it was just the getting over that first hump of, that big step to make the videos was pretty difficult.
Thank you for sharing it. And coming back, so you develop your own artistic style. You painted a lot of canvases. What was your next step when you just started your art business?
I think it was, funny enough, it was, so I moved out to Colorado, and then I worked and lived there for 3 years. And you know what? I said, you know what? I'm really sad. I don't have a lot going for me. Um, I was doing not the best things for myself at the time, and I was like, okay, I need to go back home. I mean, I miss home. I miss being around my family. I miss being around our horses and our barn cats, and I just I missed being home. And I was tired of living out there, not really knowing what I was doing, not really making any progress. I had asked for a raise at my job, and then I was denied, and I was like, this is dumb. I need to go back home. And so my mom made the, I can't even remember how many miles it was. She made the drive with a trailer behind her, and she drove all the way to where I was living in Colorado. She picked me up. I put all my stuff in the trailer, and we drove back to Michigan. But on that ride home, we talked about art for hours. And I love my mom to death. My mom is my rock. I go to her for just about everything. I'm going to be devastated when I lose her. I don't even want to think about that. It's like she is the best thing that's ever happened to me. She's always been my biggest supporter. Um, and so we just talked, and I was like, Mom, like I've been making art for years now, and I don't really know what to do with it. And I've seen people on Instagram with businesses and making money selling artwork, and I'm like, I want to do that. I want to make a life where I can be in my comfy little studio and make art and make a living off of it. That's my biggest goal. And she was just supportive, and she just asked, well, how are you going to do that? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start an Etsy. And she was like, okay, do you think you should get an LLC? And I said, I hadn't really thought of that before. Um, and so we kind of just went back and forth and like made like a short like business plan of like, okay, you got all this art, you're gonna need a camera, you're gonna need, a plan on how to do this. And so I just told her, I was like, okay, so I got the camera, I got the phone, I can take the pictures, I can take the videos, I can post stuff on Instagram, and I can also post it on Etsy. And that's where my business started. And I think that was um and the funny thing was is I had an Etsy store in 2018, and I was living in Colorado at the time. I had started one, but I didn't know what to do with it. I hadn't really looked into it because I was busy making art. And so we sat down, and I just went and looked at my Etsy, and I was like, okay, I'm really going to take a deep dive into this and see what I can make happen. And so from there, I think I had the advantage from spending all that time making artwork, taking photos of each and every one, where I was like, okay, I've got all this product. Now it's time to list it and put it on my Etsy so that it's available for people to purchase. And that's what happened. I just started straight away and put stuff on my Etsy. My mom had a we have a lawyer, like a family lawyer that we know, excuse me, and we ended up getting my LLC, and there it was, CSVW Art LLC. I have a business, I have a federal tax ID number. I'm totally legit.
That's wonderful. Do you remember how many artworks did you list
I
at the time?
think I think at the beginning I probably listed right around the number of about 100 different pieces on my Etsy. So, but they're
Oh,
all
that's a
there
lot.
was there was a couple larger pieces, but I would say the majority of them were these like 6x6s. And I think on that drive too, when I was talking to my mom, I was like, okay, well, I know in the beginning, artists like are not going to make a lot of money. You know, it's it's kind of just like one of those things you just have to accept where not everybody knows who you are. You don't have 1,000 followers. You're not famous. Your art isn't worth $1,000, for a little thing like this big yet. Yet, that's the thing. So I started low, and I think I started selling them for I think about $20 minus shipping. So I was really only making about $15 if they sold. So, I mean, I started really low, and I think as time went on, I got more and more follows, and my Etsy was getting more traction. I was starting to make sales, so the prices have gone up.
Yeah, my next question is about that moment when you uploaded these 100 artworks. And I can imagine that it might be a little bit stressful because you don't know if anyone buy anything
Mhm.
or not. And how long did it take till the first sell?
I think
And
I made my first sale in 2020. And like I said, I started my Etsy and I hadn't really done anything with it in 2018. So it took 2 years for me to even try necessarily. At least like really put my heart into it. And I think I made that first sale in 2020 and I was like, I can do it. It happened. I can do it. So I just was like, all right, this is it. I'm gonna make this happen.
yeah, I think it's great that you can focus so good at first at creating, developing your art style, creating art, then making everything listed on Etsy, because every of this step needs so much time and focus. And I think it's kind of a strong side, maybe, that helps you. Because I know so many artists, and myself, when I start something, I also have, I think I have Etsy, yeah, but it doesn't mean anything. And I tried many platforms and many things, but uh, when you open a new platform, you have to manage many little small process, and to study everything. The same with the when you make everything legal, you have to study so much things, and you just want to draw.
Yeah.
And so it's really very inspiring to listen to a story, because you're a great example of an artist who managed all these
I
things.
really,
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate that. I mean, it's nice to hear, I mean, I hear from my mom, obviously, she's very supportive. So it's like, okay, mom, like, thanks. Like, I know, like, I'm doing my best. Thank you. I appreciate the support, but it's always, I think it's really, it's humbling, I think, to hear it from other people who are attempting to do the same thing or are doing the same thing. I have other artists that I do follow on here, like I don't know if you know him, but Nicholas Megalis. He was a very famous when the app Vine was a thing. He was a Viner, and he makes art now, and he absolutely loves what I do. He likes almost every like thing that I make, and we've connected with him every once in a while, sent like personal messages. He's a great person. And, like Xpira, he's a fantastic artist. He's doing extremely well in New York right now. I'm getting to know these new people, and it's so cool to know that I feel as though I am seen as an equal in the eyes of like them. They see me as an equal, and I think that's really humbling because I've come from just about nothing to where I am, and started with maybe 100 followers, and over time just built. I feel like what possibly may be like an empire one day. I just keep doing what I'm doing, keep getting follows, keep making videos, and keep making sales. And then eventually, I just know I will be able to do this full time.
Yeah, I think it's important to know, to understand that most of us, everyone, just started with
Mm.
a zero
Yeah.
followers on Instagram, and me too, and many of us don't have any budget to invest into promotion and so on. I never actually ran the promotion on Instagram yet. And the only thing that helped me was this consistent creating and sharing art daily. And during these interviews, when I talk to different creators and artists worldwide, all of them say the same. I just created art
Yeah.
and share it
Yeah.
consistently every day or several days a week. But anyway, the story is the same. People believe and love what they do. There's the passion, and then they just don't
Right.
stop.
That's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge to just actually believe in yourself, because that's what's going to motivate you to put yourself out there. And that's
Yeah.
you can't be seen if you don't try.
And it's very important to find the support. And I'm really very happy to hear that you have such amazing support with your
Mm.
family. And
I'm very
I
lucky.
think that yeah. But if someone who's listening to us doesn't have such support, you always can find it in your friends or on social media too. For me, it was this kind of commitment with Instagram because I decided to, okay, I will post every day, no matter what.
Yeah.
And it was my support that I have this commitment,
Mhm.
even not with a person, just with the platform.
Right. Right. It takes some serious dedication. Like I there are days that you know, and I've had to work throughout this too. Like, I've had to support myself, get jobs and work, a number of hours to save money to be able to pay bills. And this is my side gig, and yet I come home from my day job and I do this. Like I'm like almost, I feel like a robot sometimes. I come home from working to make money to pay for bills, and then I come home to make money, but not really make money. I'm just here to make art for myself. And if people want to buy it, cool. But if they don't, it's for me anyway.
Yeah, it's something that we just can't not to do.
Mhm.
Mhm. And if we talk about your business now, can you describe your routine, your schedule? What are the main sources of income for you now? How everything works?
Um, it's quite inconsistent. There's no real schedule. I think for me, because it's like at the moment I am also like I'm a house painter, um, and kind of just like a handyman. So as of right now, this week I've been putting in flooring. Last week I was painting a house. Um, but I think my secondary job, or my main job, would be a painter. And it's funny because I paint and then I come home and paint. So it's kind of weird, but it's just a different kind of painting, but it's what I love to do. And I think painting in general is really relaxing. Um, so I've mainly been a painter for about 3 years now, and gotten pretty good at it. And obviously, when you get pretty good at it, the income comes a little higher. But being a painter is it's very inconsistent. That'll be, I'll have work for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I won't have work for a month. So it's like I've always had to stretch my money out. No matter how much I make, I've always had to, okay, this is going to my bills this week, this week, this week, or this month, or this month, or this month. I've had to really be pretty flexible as far as, how income comes in. Um, but I'm very lucky, and I feel very fortunate to be able to now depend on a partial bit of my sales coming from Etsy. Because I think it's been a solid 2 years of consistently making money every month. And obviously the range varies. There will be some months where I won't make any. And then there will be some months where I think the highest sales month I'd ever have had was last year, and I made, I think, around $4,000 in December of last year. And that was like mind blowing. I was like, holy cow, what do I do with all this money? And it went straight into savings. That's where all of my money goes.
We continue our interview with Colin. There was a bad internet connection, So it was stopped for a while, but I think we can just continue our interview and ask a couple more questions about Colin's artistic journey. So I hope he will be able to join us again, and we will continue to talk about art business, how to earn money with art, how to pay your bills, and how to create the true art. So, by the way, thank you for the comments. I saw a lot of support from you during our interview. It's really very nice. So, we are ready to continue. Accept. Yeah. Hello.
I don't know what happened.
Me too. I don't know. So, I think we have time for a couple more questions.
Yeah.
I'm really, really very grateful to you that you shared so many important things about artistic journey and how hard it can be. So, I had a questions about income. As I see you on your social media, for me, you are really very vibrant artist with a very distinctive artistic style and personality. This is why I have a very logical question, I think. Do you collaborate with brands? Because I am sure that many brands with the same vibe would be happy to promote their products with you on your Instagram.
So I have not actually. It's been something that I've always wanted to do. I've I think I've been reluctant to kind of really put myself out there for brands too, because I'm not amazing with digital art, and that seems to be, one of the biggest things I think now is the ability to have that talent, especially working with companies where they need your art digitally to be able to print it. That aspect of creating has not been my personal favorite, I think. I like to do it in paper. I like hands-on stuff. I like to be able to feel the media. I like to be able to manipulate it. I love the smell of oil. I love the smell of acrylic. I'm crazy about that stuff. So using a singular pen on a tablet has just never been super exciting for me or motivating for me. So I think that's the biggest struggle and I think downfall of getting to work with companies has been for me. But it's been something that I've seriously considered.
Yeah, I understand you. I think that digital often something that you need when you work on commissions for create when you create illustrations for brand. But if we talk about brands that who want to promote their art materials or other products on your Instagram because they love your personality and your art. For this, you don't need to create any digital art at all. All you need is to have the same vibe as they, and if you have a match,
Right.
and you have a pretty big Instagram account and a good connection with your followers, with your audience, and I'm sure that you're very honest to yourself and to people who are following you. So these promotions will be the brands you really like.
Right.
And in this case, you don't have to be not yourself. You don't
Yeah.
have to draw digitally.
Yeah.
You just need to be Colin and
Mhm.
share your true opinion about these brands.
Right. Now that I think about it, I was very fortunate to, which is crazy because it came from just a single video that I made. I had made a reel about, I think it was something about being an indecisive artist, where I was looking at at a piece that I was making, I was walking back and forth, and all of a sudden it just switched to me laying on the floor in a cradle position because I was like, I can't decide what I'm doing. And Liquitex, the paint company, they contacted me and asked if they could share it. So they shared that video, which was huge because they have 150 thousand followers. So I was like, this is awesome. I'm gonna get some views, and they shared it. And then I sent them a message and I asked, is there something that you could do for me? You know, like, is can I get something out of this? And they ended up sending, um, they gave me $300 to choose any of their products. So they gave me an allowance, and I spent it all on these Liquitex acrylic inks, and I made a video about it. And I thanked them, and um, later on we had messaged about a possible like sponsorship, or something above, something around there. And they had told me that they didn't have anything yet for this year, but they told me that I would be considered for 2025. So there's a possible collaboration that I could have with Liquitex next year. That's, I think, the only real brand that I've had contact with, I think.
Yeah, and it's a great example. Um, I'm not sure if it's okay uh, to be so straight, but I think that if you send several mails once a week at least to brands that you like,
Mhm.
sharing that, hey guys, I created this kind of art. This is my Instagram account, and here example of my reels. They, some of them will definitely fall in love with how you express your art on social media, and they will definitely can have this desire to collaborate with you. And
Mhm.
so,
I should. I definitely should. I would love a sponsorship from Golden. I would love that. That would be a dream come true. Um, I'm very picky with my brands. So,
yeah,
um, I use companies, I use like Holbein, that's a Japanese
yeah.
company. Um, it's like everything from everywhere. Oh, and my Geneva made these watercolor pencils are my absolute favorite. I would love to get sponsors, so I definitely think that's a direction that I could move, toward this year.
I hope you will get some collaborations, and sometimes we have to be a bit proactive in these things
Mhm.
too.
Mhm.
Okay, is there anything else you wanted to share today? Ask or share or tell us?
Um, I mean, thank you for the opportunity to do this. I think it was crazy to just see your message, and I was like, you know what, that sounds actually really cool. I think it would be great to share with people that you really don't have to know what you're doing, as long as you do it. So,
Mhm.
you it's not easy to just dedicate yourself to something so seriously, but I think if you're passionate about it, where's the hurt? What bad can come out of it? Of course, you couldn't make a sale, maybe possibly, but if you let it sit, I've had pieces that have like sat on my Etsy for 3 years and ended up selling. I thought, oh, this is never going to sell. It's been here forever. I might as well take it down. I left it up, and 3 years later, it sold. I was like, well, that's just a lesson learned right there. Just believe in yourself. That's really, I think, what is behind all of it.
So, what advice would you tell to yourself a few years ago when you were at the beginning of your artistic journey? What words would you say?
Hmm, that's a great question. I think that I would probably tell myself, um, do it with a kind-hearted spite. I think, when I was younger, I was, called all these names, and I was like, you're never gonna amount to nothing. And I was like, well, you know what? Watch me. You know, watch me. I will, and I'm gonna prove you wrong. So I think telling myself, my younger self, I would be like, just imagine if you could. Just imagine if you tried. what could you do?
Colin, thank you so much. It was a big pleasure for me to talk with you, and I feel your honesty, your open that you're really very open from the first seconds of the interview. Thank you very much for this.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Wish you a wonderful day, and let every collaboration collaboration will happen.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.